My mother grew up in a small country church in a place called Christine, North Dakota, and she spent her whole childhood in this church and looked at one altarpiece all of that time. It wasn't a great piece of art, but it was an image of Jesus praying at the Garden of Gethsemane. I've always wondered how my mother's own sense of who Jesus is was shaped by seeing that every Sunday. She was married in that church. We celebrate the 50th wedding anniversary in that church. Sometimes pieces of art like that, and I'm not saying they all have to be great pieces of art, but they shape how you understand your faith.
Professor Robin Jensen and her collaborators are studying the connection between sacred art and the context in which we encounter it. Could the same artwork activate a variety of experiences and memories when seen in different environments?
We were interested in knowing about how you viewed a piece of art in a church, and if that piece of art was moved to another completely different kind of venue, would you encounter it differently? Would you remember it differently?
The sense of the space, I think, gives a sense of potentially purpose, of messaging, of interest, of what maybe the person thinks they should be looking at it differently.
In a museum space, we often encounter art a little bit more objectively. There's a sort of natural way that we see art differently depending on the context that we encounter it, and especially if it's sacred art.
We're trying to get at the workings of the human mind, and a lot of research in the kind of psychology that I typically do is very much oriented around artificial materials. What's nice about this project is that our experience of art is very human, and it tends to be overlooked in a lot of domains within experimental psychology.
The virtual reality section of our study was, in a real sense, a solution to a problem, that we knew we wanted to see what difference it made if a work moved to a different kind of venue.
Here we are in this museum. If we were to come in and start moving the walls and rearranging the paintings, we'd probably end up in jail. They don't like us doing that. But with the virtual world, we can create these spaces the way we want them to be.
We decided to build 3 virtual reality spaces. So one of them is a virtual reality chapel, one of them is a virtual reality art gallery, one of them is supposed to look like a warehouse. And we populated these spaces with artworks.
When you're in a virtual environment, we can actually measure how much time did you spend looking at a particular piece of art before you moved on? How close did you get to it? Did you come back and visit it a second time?
I think for me, the most surprising thing was the fact that people spent more time actually engaging the works they had the least understanding of. When you come to something that you think you already know, like the images of Jesus carrying the cross to Golgotha, you don't have to sit and figure it out. So it means you spend maybe a little less time actually studying it. And the studying it creates a different memory experience for you. Although people have a harder time understanding abstract, non-pictorial art, they actually spend more time trying to figure it out. Whether they like it or they don't like it, they tend to remember it better. We don't always envision altarpieces that are now in museums as having altars and being part of a religious celebration of some kind. And if we can at least imagine back to what that was like, it would teach us something about what the work was for many of its viewers initially, and maybe differently now. I am curious about how people see things and how they receive things, and what the variables will be and what will change the ways that they see things.